Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl, Valerie Mason Chase, and it looks like I played the wrong introduction, but whatever, we are here. I welcome you. I welcome you to this live broadcast. And, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Whenever when someone has launched a business or a ministry, we don't stop to think or consider the backstory to that. What transpired that led up to the launch? We see the launch, we see the website, we see all the offerings and everything. But do we ever stop to think and ask ourselves what really went into launching that business or that ministry? What were some of the thoughts? What were some of the feelings? What were some of the concerns that the individuals had prior to launching that? So that's what we're going to talk about on our episode today. And I got to tell you, I got some very, very special guests today. I know I say that every week, okay? But this week, these are a couple of them are my family members whom I love with my whole heart. So I'm going to bring each one of these fantabulous women on one at a time. And they're going to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get started. It looks like I'm having some trouble with my Wi-Fi. Looks a little wonky. So at some point, I may switch my Wi-Fi. If I do, I will let you know, because when I do that, if I end up having to do that, there'll be a disconnect for maybe about 15 to 20 seconds, and then everything should be reconnected at that point. And I keep getting a signal that says that my connection is unstable, so I may do that. But I want to bring the women on first. Okay, so the first person I'm going to bring on is my great niece. We call her Little Niecey because she looks so much like her mom. She is my sister's mini me. And this fabulous woman is Martine Odom. I'm going to bring her on. Hey, Marty Ma.
Hi, Avel. Hi, everyone.
So this is my great niece, Martine Odom, who herself is stepping out on faith, and she's launching her business, and she's one of the people who's going to be talking about and giving us that backstory to how she got started. So Martine, just introduce yourself and tell the people who are listening a little bit about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Martine Odom. My birthday is this month. I'll be 33. Ooh. I'm a mom of 3. I know I'm getting up there, Val. I have 3 children, 2 girls, and a little boy that just turned 1. I have a passion for psychology, especially in our community, and I hope to actually finish my master's in psychology while being an entrepreneur. So,
all right.
A little bit about myself.
Thank you, Martine. I want to thank you for saying yes. Thank you for showing up. And, your auntie loves you.
I love you too, Val.
So this next individual, this is my ride or die chick. Okay. Every woman should have a ride or die. So this is my ride or die. She also happens to be my baby sister, my best friend. She wears a whole lot of hats in my life, okay? And some of y'all already know her. I think probably most of y'all know her. Well, anybody who really knows me knows my sister Jackie. So I'm going to bring my Jackie on now. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis. Hello, everybody. Hello, Marty Mar. Glad to be here.
So, Jackie, just tell everyone who's listening a little bit about yourself.
I am first and foremost, I am a mom of 3 beautiful children. I am a grandmother of 5 beautiful grandchildren. I am a sister. I am a friend. I am a child of God, and life has been a journey. But through it all, I know that I have been blessed. And it's special for me today. It's more special than just being here with my sister. because I'm here with my daughter, my youngest child. And, you know, the Bible tells us to raise our children in the way that they should go. And even if they depart, they will come back. And I can say with all three of my children, my oldest girl, Simone, she was on a few weeks ago for another topic. But to see my children flourish and to see them
Yeah.
operate the way that they are operating and living the way that they are living and acknowledging that God is in control of all things is a beautiful, beautiful blessing. So this is very special for me
Yes.
tonight.
And it's very special for me as well, sis. I just want to take a minute to give a quick shout out to some who are watching. There's Elaine, my cousin. Hey, cuz, I love you. Adrena, thank you so much. Lisa Hopkins, Shasha, Minor Family Mobile Detailing. That's probably Latanda, but love you, love you, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. So, okay, and I have one more guest to bring on. This young lady, she and I were classmates together at Cairn University, where I pursued and received my master's in counseling. And we had many classes together, and we developed a friendship. A matter of fact, during the admissions process, part of the admissions process is an interview. And what they do there at Cairn is they have group interviews. And there were either 5 or 6 of us who were on that interview. And Sarah Beth was one of those individuals that was in my group to be interviewed. And from that moment, during that interview, we formed the connection. It was just something, you know, how you meet someone and you just connect with them. And that's what happened with Sarah Beth and I. Let me bring Jackie back on. I think she lost her stream. So
Yeah,
I want to bring on my sister friend, my colleague, Sarah Beth Stanzo. Hey, Sarah Beth.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well.
Hi,
So,
ladies.
so Sarah Beth,
yeah.
this is my sister Jackie and my great niece Martine. Y'all, this is Sarah Beth.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to finally meet you guys.
Same here.
Me too.
So Sarah Beth, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. Anything that you'd like to share?
Let me see. I love to help people. I love to see people thrive. I love to see people overcome, as much of their brokenness as they can on this side of glory, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mom of 2 beautiful babies. My 2 passions, singing and mental health. And yeah, I that's what I do is basically who I am.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. In terms of personality, growing up, I was always the soft one. And you know, I was kind of like the one that people know that they can go to for like comfort.
Yeah.
They knew that I would listen to them. I wouldn't be mean and judgmental. And so it's basically what I do is really who I am. That's just who I've always been, like, you know, the comforter, the counselor, you know, the confidant, the person that you know that would keep your secret for you.
That's important.
Right. And yeah, and my passion is to see, especially women, know their value and their worth. I think that's really important. That's something that the Lord has shown me, and I've grown in a great deal in that area. And I think it's part of my calling as a life as a believer, you know, to build disciples, right?
Yeah.
If you don't really have that relationship with Christ, if you don't know Christ, really, you really can't know who you are. If you don't know your creator, it's difficult to really know who you are as a person.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah Beth. Thank you, ladies. Again, I just appreciate you being here. Anytime that someone says yes and they show up, y'all don't know how that warms my heart. So I don't take it for granted when people come on and are willing to give of themselves and share of their lives and to have a level of transparency, whatever that might be. So I have you guys here, and I'm calling this episode "Stepping Out on Faith," because that's what I believe one does when one is launching anything, whether it's a ministry, a business, or whatever it is. There's always that first nugget, that first idea, that first voice, that first pull, that first feeling of a calling. That is the genesis where your ministry or your business is birthed.
Right.
So I'm wondering, for each of you, what was that? What was the first inkling that you received that led you to where you are now? So Martina, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, if you can hear the baby in the background, I apologize. He's all the way upstairs with the other two. But I don't know. I've always been really creative. I've always been great with my hands. I feel like that is a gift that God has truly blessed me with.
Yes.
I started out making cakes for like our own family events, so nobody would have to buy them. First of all, I am a woman. If I can do it myself, I am. Never pay anybody for anything. I don't believe in spending unnecessary money. So I've always tried to teach myself how to do things, and really because I have so many kids, it's only 3 of them, but because I have so many kids, it's always a birthday party. There's always an event, always, and I refuse to pay for anybody to do anything. So along with my sister Simone, we're just really creative. So because I had to do it so much, it just became a passion of mine. To do events, plan events, help other people plan events. So that was like it's always been in there, but the moment that I can remember that made me think, okay, step out on faith, like the one moment is when I lost one job in June of 2019. And and I really love that position. So I was a career counselor. I studied psychology. Like Sarah, I am a huge advocate for mental health awareness, especially in our community. And so it was like a stepping stone to really what I really wanted to do. And I love that job. And Mom would tell you, I was really heartbroken when they laid me off. I like really shocked and heartbroken. And I promised myself that day that I would never work for anybody again without pursuing my own dreams. I will never let anyone lay me off or fire me for something that I truly love, without a backup plan for something else that I truly love.
Wow.
And so from that day, that was July 2019. That was June 2019, July 2019. I planned my goddaughter's birthday party. And then September 2019, I started my business.
Wow. I love what you said about not wanting to be in a position where someone can fire you and essentially remove you from your passion.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I really like that.
If it was a position that I didn't have a passion for, that I didn't really care for, and that job was serving the the community of HRA, those who were receiving benefits, and so people in my community that really had a passion for helping, I really love that job. To this day, I still don't know what happened, but I know everything happens for a reason. So I said, make sure you have something to fall back on that you also love.
You also love. That's good. That's good. So Sarah Beth, what was it for you? That first inkling?
I don't know if it was an inkling. I don't know if it was one moment. I think it's been a lifetime of events, a lifetime of training and education, and a long time of like, Lord, I have all of these passions. I have all these different gifts. How do I put it together? Because for a long time, I felt like I was forced to choose something. Choose one thing. And I really couldn't. I'm a very creative person, and other people who are in the arts understand that. Sometimes a singer's not just singers. Sometimes they dance and they play music, and they're artistic in terms of painting. I like to paint. I like to draw. I'm like really creative in many different ways. And I want to say one of the main areas where I found a way to kind of use many of my gifts were when I was homeschooling my children, which was really great. But at the same time, I had this really big calling to serve women, to serve people, right, in the mental health field. And it's kind of like, well, and I kind of felt torn, like I'm leaving this creative part of me behind. Like I have to choose between the two, you know? And so for a long time coming, I kind of been back and forth with it, you know? And I want to say, even within the field of mental health, I did sort of different things. You know, I was in health and fitness, right? I was a parent counselor. I learned a lot of early childhood educational stuff. And and I kind of feel like I'm finally at a place where I kind of see it all coming together. Right? In my coaching business, I was able to develop a holistic approach to trauma. And to helping people experience relief from, like, anxiety, depression, and various other things that basically hold them back from healthy relationships, hold them back from knowing their own value and worth and loving themselves, holding them back from being and living the life that God has called them to live, whether that's a calling or a career, whatever the case may be, and just being healthy, right? It's like, yeah, we can serve the Lord being overweight and being unfit and being tired and being whether it's always being hungry or never being hungry and just having just unhealthy habits. We do it all the time, right? But how much better would it be if we could do it without that stuff? Right?
That's so true. That's true. So I want to ask Jackie, I want to give Jackie an opportunity to answer this question. Jackie, what was that, if you can identify that first nugget or first inkling that led to where you are now? What was it?
I don't know. I think that it's always been there. And I've been thinking about it and praying about it because I knew today was coming. But I remember as a child, my first thing was to be a teacher. And then as I got older, it was, business. I want to make money. I want to make money. I have been blessed enough in my life that I've had a support system. I had my mom. I had Val. There were others, Pastor Bethany, Sister Bethany, my home church. So there's always been a support system. I have sister friends who have been with me for years, and I've just always been that person where people would come to and they would talk to me. And girl, I've got secrets. Oh, Jesus. And I would definitely be taken to my grave. But with that being said, I just knew there was always a desire to help others. And so it initially started with life coaching. I've always wanted to be a life coach. I finally took that step, but I just knew, I've always known that there was just something in me to help others, to be a hope for the world. And so finally, after a lot of years of banging my head against the wall, I've just finally stepped into my calling and my purpose.
Okay, that's good, sis. And your last statement, I want to, is a nice segue into what I want to ask you all next. Because I know for myself, before I went back to school for my master's in counseling, before I launched Marriage Beyond the Breach, there was that interval between when I first felt like this is what God wanted me to do and the time I actually did it. So I'm wondering what that time interval was like for you. Was there a time interval? How much time was there between? So Jackie, answer that.
Well, to be totally honest, my time interval was over 20 years. And since you'll remember, I accepted my call to the ministry over 20 years ago. And when I tell you, I put on roller skates and ran. I was out the door, was like, nope, I can't do this. And then finally, I said, okay, Lord, I hear you, but I still wanted to take a side road. So I initially went back to school for counseling. And I did a whole year of counseling. And there was just a moment where God was like, that's not what I said.
That's not it.
After a whole year, I then transferred to the School of Divinity. And even with that, I'm in school. Thank you, Jesus. I will be done in August. But even with that, I still hesitate. So there were still some moments where I'm not 100% sure. Well, let me not say that. I'm sorry. I am sure, but because of my own doubts, because of my own insecurities, because of my own fears,
Yes.
I sort of pump the brakes sometimes. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
God has a way of reminding me, but this is what I said. This is what I want you to do. And so I think that with anything, we're always going to, if we're honest with ourselves, we're always going to have those moments where we say, am I really hearing you, Lord? Or is this just me
Yes.
thinking I'm hearing you? And so I think that's just a part of life. And I think that's a part of our faith journey. Is sometimes we just have to be 100% sure.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And I can absolutely identify with that. I think it's something that we struggle with. But at the same time, I think it can be a positive thing.
Yes.
And I look at it as a positive thing in this manner because it's not like you just hear it and you just run with it.
Right.
You want to take your time and
Yes.
try to be as sure as you possibly can be. You want to seek God, you want to ask God, you want to
Yes.
question him and get as much validation from him and confirmation as you
Yes.
possibly can. So those moments of doubt, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think they do happen. So Sarah Beth,
Yes.
was there a time interval for you?
I'm gonna say yeah. I want to say about a year or less. And I want to say if it wasn't for COVID, I probably definitely wouldn't have even gone down this route.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because it just became there was such difficulty just finding placement during COVID, and it prolonged things for me and applying for different positions, and not getting the one that was the right fit, was extremely difficult. And I was, just talking to the Lord and kind of, as believers of what we do, sort of evaluating your gifts and your talents. What are my gifts? What am I this? And I'm like, well, I know that, but it's like, so then why can't I feed myself?
Yeah.
Right? Why can't I use my gifts and my talents to feed myself and my family? Like, why do I have to rely on someone else or or an agency or, why? And so I think that's what kind of like started the journey. And I think there was a great deal of like fear and anxiety and doubt, because that would mean I was on my own. Like I wouldn't have someone above me to run things by. I wouldn't have someone to give me the steps A, B, C, and D. Like, when you own your own business, when you start on your own, like you're the boss.
Yes.
And so I had to deal with a lot of that. And then I think one of the major things was, for a long time, I don't think I even shared it with anyone. Because, I was kind of afraid of, I guess the naysayers. And I remember finally speaking to like one of my cousins. I'm like, I'm really nervous about this, but I think I really want to do this. But what if I fail? Or, what if something happens? And she was like, just do it, and she just really encouraged me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I want to say within a month of having that conversation with her is when I opened my practice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is a concern that we have before we launch is a couple of things. What about the naysayers? Is my skin thick enough? Because they're coming. People will come for you once you're out there. And is my skin thick enough to handle it? And what if this doesn't work? What if I fail? And you know what? I finally came to the conclusion, what if?
Right.
What if? But what if I succeed? Because there's as much of a possibility and even more of a possibility for success than failure when we are doing something that we truly believe in our heart of hearts that this is what God is calling us to do. Because we have his backing, we have his support. So Martine, what was that time interval like for you, if there was a time interval?
I want to say 2 months, maybe 2 really. So from the time that I said, okay, I think I want to do this, I made my first purchase in August.
Yeah.
So it was July that I thought about it. I made my first purchase in August. And then I actually launched on social media and stuff in September.
Wow.
So I'm kind of an impulsive person. And I know I get told quite a bit, by your sister and my sister. But I don't know. That moment I said, you know what? I've been doing this for years. What could go wrong? I mean, what really could go wrong? People don't take the business. Okay, whatever I purchase, I use for my own personal events. What could really go wrong, right? It's a gift God gave me. Why am I keeping it to myself? I don't know where God got the money from, but he gave it to me. And so I did it. And it worked out. It worked out.
So Martine, your business is called House of Three Events.
Yes, House of Three Events.
And tell me how you came up with that name.
So House of Three, they say good things come in threes, right? So it started off with me, Momo, and my best friend Melissa, the three of us. But it kind of came down to it was just me. Like Momo helped me with certain things. Melissa wasn't a part of it because she had her own thing going. Sometimes when you go into a business, you want to bring everybody along with you, but it might not be their same goal. Like I know my sister, she's never going to say no to me, but I know if she doesn't really want to do something, like that's not her passion. Her passion is completely different from what mine is, right? Maybe not completely. It could definitely intertwine, but I know Momo very well. She was just like, yeah, I'll do it with you. Because she's my sister and she's not going to tell me no. And I'm the baby and I always get my way, right? But then when I had to really sit and think of, so House of Three is going to mean a lot of things. So it's the three of us, right? Yeah. And then when I really had to sit and think about it, so my business is party rental. So when you have a baby shower or wedding or whatever have you, the decorations are mine, right? The chairs, the backdrops, the balloons, the so on and so forth. And I had to really sit and think like, well, where did I get all of this from? And I thought about the three women in my life that really taught me to go after what I want, pray about what I want. So grandma, my mother's mom, my dad's mom, my Nana, those three women, Nana, and all three are now up in heaven with God. Those three women really taught us to like, they were really into like the house stuff, right? So Nana was into ironing and starching her curtains. But, like that was her thing. Grandma was really into, dad's mom was really into like making sure the presents under the tree was a certain way, like in order, like they were also creative. And grandma gave me that sense of pray for what you want and go after it because God is not going to let you down, right? Yeah. So it was those three women. Then come the three kids that I have, and everything I do is literally for them. I used to take Kylie to drop off with me to deliver and drop off. And I asked her one day, I said, Kylie, what is your definition of customer service? And she was 10 at the time, 10 or 11. I can't remember. I have too many kids. She was like, saying what you mean and following up on what you say you're going to do. And I don't know where she got that from. I really don't know where she got that from. I feel like maybe just watching me. Look, mommy. Maybe just watching me because she would hear me on the phone taking orders. She would see me doing these voices. And so all in all, I want to say House of Three came from those perfect three things in my life. Me, my sister, my best friend, my maternal, paternal grandmothers, and my Nana, who was like the honorary grandmother, and then my three kids. So yeah, perfect things in threes.
Wow, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot, especially because Nana, that's my mom.
Right.
You are so right about her and those curtains. People don't do stuff like that no more.
Right.
No, they don't. My curtains right now.
Absolutely. So Sarah Beth, yours is her self-awareness. I think I left it out. It's life coaching.
No, you got it.
Did I get it right? Okay.
No, you got it right. Yes.
So talk to me about her self-awareness and how you derive that name.
Well, her self-awareness, I think, in conjunction with my ministry, which we talked about the last time I was on, I Am Marvelous, which is all about focusing on, women and girls in crisis and knowing your value and worth, kind of believing that that's the key to sort of maintaining and developing healthy romantic relationships and, platonic relationships as well.
Yeah.
I feel like when you become self-aware and not just being aware of what other people say about you, not to be aware of what you think about yourself, but really being aware of really who you are, of what's really going on inside of you, right? That means like your real fears, your real doubts, right? Those things that you've been running from, you know, maybe most of your life, what your body really feels like, not what you're pushing past, trying to push past to get through your day, to get through work, to get through school, you know, take care of the kids, take care of your husband, and so forth and so on. What's really happening to you right now, right? And most of us really either we don't have the time to take a beat and to check in with ourselves to know what we're doing because we're so busy. And some of us are so we've been trained with avoidant behaviors, right? We are avoiding those voices in our head. You know, we're avoiding the pain in our body because it's a survival mechanism, you know, as a result of things that have happened to us in our past, traumatic events and things of that nature. But the problem is that it's okay. It's all well and fine, you know, to avoid, you know, you feel like you got to get through, you got to push through but what you don't really realize is that those things that you're avoiding, the things that you're not aware of, they're still running the show. They're the ones that are really living your life. You're not living your life. Your emotions are living your life. Your fears are living your life. Your numbingness, your need to numb is running your life, right? Because those are the things that keep us from, you know, asking for promotion. Those are the things that keep us from, you know, taking those risks and going after our dreams. Those are the things that keep us in abusive relationships, whether it's romantic or not unromantic relationships. Those are the things that keep you isolated in your house, that keep you lonely. Those are the things that prevent you from having friendships, right? And trusting people. That's your entire life. And I think most importantly, that's probably the main thing that's keeping you from having an intimate relationship with the Lord. Right? I mean, because there's no way you can have intimacy with him by pretending you're not who you really are, right? You have to pretend when you go to the throne, you have to pretend all this stuff isn't happening. You have to avoid all that stuff happening in order to communicate with him. And it's not like he doesn't know already. He already knows. Yeah. And I think it's really important to help people to understand that, right? Because you think you're making these decisions and you're really not. Your nervous system really is. Right? You know, that anxiety that keeps you from doing the things you want to do, that's running the show. That depression, that's running the show. That abusive relationship, that's running the show. That addiction or whatever the case may be, whatever it is, substance or person or thing or habit that you're using to numb your pain, that's what's running the show. And I feel like it's I'm that place in between really facing your past with trauma therapy and avoiding it, right? I'm that in between where it's like, okay, you may not be ready for deep trauma therapy. Not everyone is, right? But you're still miserable. And you want relief from that misery. And I'm sort of that in between that helps you to teach you the different skills on how to release a lot of those trauma symptoms that you may not label them as trauma symptoms, but they really are. You know, we call them stress. You know, I'm so stressed out. I'm so overwhelmed, right? That's because your nervous system is running on overdrive. Right. And so when people come to me, I teach them how to try to regulate that nervous system, whether it's through deep breathing, whether it's through journaling, whether it's just through talking, right? To someone, you know, having a confidant, you know, knowing that I won't share your secrets with anyone. Like you're safe with me. You can trust me with that. Teaching you how to live a different lifestyle, what to eat, you know, what not to eat. You know, physical fitness. Physical fitness is free therapy. The best therapy probably that's free out there is physical fitness. You know, there's so many different things that we can do to change our lives and to change how we feel. That doesn't require me going into your entire trauma history. Like when you come to me, you don't have to tell me your entire trauma history. I don't need to know that in order to help you.
That's good. That's really good. And because you are so right, so many people are not ready. Even when they come to therapy, they're not yet ready to deal with and unpack all that stuff, all the trauma from their past. They're not ready for it. And it's good that someone like you is available as that interim, that in between kind of person, where you can teach them skills to deal with the symptoms of the stress and the anxiety that result, or the depression that results from the trauma, without having to uncover all of that trauma to do
Right.
so, because it's hard. It's
It's
hard
true though.
work, and we're not ready to face it. I know you and I were having a conversation yesterday, and I can absolutely identify with that, because it took me decades, and I mean decades, before I was really at a place where I could deal with a lot of the trauma from my past. And even though I knew from a theoretical standpoint, and from others having pointed it out to me, that it was impacting all of my relationships, especially my marriage, I still wasn't ready to deal with it, because it definitely had a negative effect, a negative impact on all of my relationships and how I showed up, because it's hard to show up as your authentic self when you are having bottling all that trauma up inside, and you haven't really dealt with it. So that's great. And I love what you said about physical fitness being free therapy, because movement is one of the greatest things that we can do to combat, especially some depression and anxiety.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's research based. It's research based
It's
that
research-based.
research based that things like yoga and like Tai Chi, we use those things in treating trauma.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
some people don't understand that. You know, it's like you can experience a great level of healing and symptom relief in order to stabilize you. So if you ever or whenever you decide to do the deeper work, you actually physically can. Like
You
you
physically can.
right. And my hope is to empower people to know that you can create your own safety. Right. Because
Yeah,
that's really usually the issue. Like people feel unsafe. It's the fear. Right. But if you
yeah.
learn that you can create your own safety whenever you're triggered, that's so empowering.
That
And it will
is.
help people to move forward to do whatever it is that they want to do.
Absolutely. And that is so good. And I like the way you phrased it about getting stabilized so that you can either function in life or go forward and do that deeper work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. So my Jackie
Yes, ma'am.
has a couple of things. First
Yes.
is Lifeline Prayer Ministry. And Jackie, first tell us something about Lifeline Prayer Ministry. Then I want you to talk about Jackie's Inspirational Corner, and then I want you to talk about Journey on the Inside. So tell me about that, about Lifeline Prayer Ministry first.
Okay. So, Lifeline Prayer Ministry, first of all, my sister actually gave me the name. I had started doing voice recording prayers for the 90-day Bible Challenge with Sean Saunders. For that
Mm-hmm.
community, that was my task. People would send the prayer request, and I would pray and then send them a recording. I, of course, pray for my children. Even my children, they call their friends. They have their friends call me when they're going through something for prayer. And so Val and I were talking about it, and she said, that's one of your gifts, and I think that you should start a prayer ministry. And I said, okay, you come up with the name, and I'll do it. And so
She didn't
Lifeline
think
Prayer
I was. She
Ministry.
didn't think I was gonna call her bluff.
No, I didn't. I really she was not, but she did. And I'm grateful because it is one of the greatest things. Val, we grew up with a praying mother, a mother who prayed for us. And even today, at our age now, I think I can say for both of us, we still see mommy's prayers being answered over us, over our children, over our
Yes.
grandchildren. And so Lifeline Prayer Ministry is just that. It is a lifeline because
Yes.
everybody can't pray for themselves. There are times where I can't pray for myself. But I am blessed enough. I have a community. I have support. I have people that I can reach out to who will pray with me and pray for me. Everyone doesn't have that. And so Lifeline Prayer Ministry is just that. You need prayer, send me an email and you will receive a recorded prayer because we all need someone to stand in the gap for us. And
Yes.
I know that that is one of my gifts. I am an intercessor prayer warrior. I know that, and I'm walking in that. Journey on the inside. That's my life coaching business that I still have to launch. But Journey on the Inside, that name came about after a lot of prayer and a lot of deliberation. About 15 years ago, God had given me JOTI. I went back to some of my old journals where I had written things down that God had given me, and JOTI was there, and I kept saying, "But Lord, what does that mean?" The hardest thing for us to do is to be honest with ourselves about ourselves.
Yes.
And that's what stops us. That's what blocks us from moving forward. We get stuck and we stay there. And so for me, life coaching is about lifting someone up, encouraging them to take that next step, to helping them overcome the block that they have. Take a look deep inside because there is something inside each one of us that God has placed there. We just have to tap into it. And so that is my assignment. That's part of my calling is to be able to help others get in touch with what's on the inside of them and to bring it to fruition, to bring it out. Um,
Yes.
Jackie's Inspirational Corner. Uh, that came about one day I was fighting with God because, as I said, I'm in school for my Master's of Divinity. And I kept saying, "Well, Lord, what do you want me to do? Because I don't want to be a pastor." I've said that from day one. I do not want to be a pastor. I'm in school, Lord. I'm collecting all of this debt. What? Holy Spirit said YouTube. I said YouTube. I said, well, I watch YouTube, but I don't know anything about doing a YouTube channel. I called Val. I talked to Val. That's my person. And so I said, okay, let me research it. And I was trying to come up with a name. And it's like, I want to inspire people. I want to encourage others not only to study the Word of God, to know the Word of God, but to know about God, to understand that He is our all in all. And no
Yes.
matter what we're going through in life, He has the answer. It's in the Word of God, it's there. And
Yes.
so Jackie's Inspirational Corner is just that. There are videos that I post, and most times there's a scripture. God gives me the message 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up typing, and then I will post a video. Everything that I do is to glorify Him. Everything that I do is to encourage others because I'm a living witness. No matter what valleys we're in, no matter how hard times are, God will bring you through.
Yes, he
He's,
will.
he, he's been too good to me in my life not to share it with others. And
Yes.
so that's how all of it has been born. Because of his grace and his faithfulness to me, I now have to be faithful and spread the word of God and just talk about his love and his goodness.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, sis. Thank you guys, all of you for sharing. Because I think it's always interesting to learn how something is birthed, how it came about. That always fascinates me. The way that see, God Himself always fascinates me. Okay, all the time, every time I think that, oh my God, you have just blown my mind, and it can't be blown anymore. He turns around and He'll do it again. So I'm always fascinated by the backstories of how of how things get started because I think that's the real story. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I probably need some water. Let me hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get the cookie man to bring me some water. I had to mute myself because I didn't want y'all to hear me hollering. Because he's back there laying down. His stomach is acting up again. But yeah, I'm always fascinated by the backstory because no matter what we see, what's shown on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, or whatever the platform may be, there's always something that preceded it. There's always something that happened before what your eyes see. Whatever trepidation the person may have been going through, whatever challenges they may have overcome in order to get from where they were to where they are. And that always fascinates. Oh, thanks, babe. That always fascinates me. So, one thing I want before I ask this next question, I want Sarah Beth, because I see you got a chart behind you, and I'm wondering if that's something that you want to talk about a little bit about and share a bit with us.
Yeah, I have. It's a chart of the nervous system. So one of my passions or my loves or what I kind of feel like the Lord has been sort of brewing inside of me is helping the body of Christ to understand that he created us in our flesh and blood for a purpose. He created our flesh and blood, and that's the way he's chosen to interact with us, right? That's the way he's chosen for us to live our everyday lives. Even spiritually, yes, we have his breath of life, we have our soul, we have the Holy Spirit who intercedes for us. We communicate that way. That's how we're able to be who Christ is calling us to be. Yeah. But we still need to use our brains, right? Mm-hmm. We still need to use our bodies, and our bodies encases all these different systems: the muscular system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the endocrine system, and so forth and so on. These are all the things that we need to be working well on an everyday basis in order to be who God is calling us to be. And that's our main goal in life, right? Is to love God and to enjoy him all the days of our lives, to love others as we love ourselves. Yes. But I believe that believers, many of us don't seem to many of us try to separate our bodies from our spiritual bodies, right? Yes. And what I'm trying to say is you can't do that, right? As much as you try, we can't do that. That's not how God has created to interact with us and has created us to interact with the world that he's put us in, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're going through things like depression and anxiety, when we're struggling with the longings inside of us, prayer is not enough, right? Now people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, what is she saying?
Yeah, I just want to just pause there for a moment, because I think we are at a time in our lives now and in our history where we can say that without being called blasphemous, because there was a time when if you made a statement like that, people would start throwing that oil on you and hands on you and praying for the devil to come out of you. But yes, I'm saying that because I agree with that statement 100%. Okay, so go ahead.
Right. And so prayer is not enough. And don't get me wrong, I love the Lord and I know the Lord loves me and I communicate, I talk with him all the time. And there are times when I'm going through something physically in my body and I cry out to him and he relieves me from it.
Yes.
Right. He gives me comfort. He gives me relief. Sometimes he gives me supernatural energy. Sometimes he takes the headache away. Sometimes, he lifts my spirit and I'm not feeling down and depressed. Right. Yes. That's the power of the Holy Spirit. That's why he's God. Right. But that's the exception. It's not the rule.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like as believers, we're trying to make that the rule as opposed to it being the exception. Miracles are an exception. They're not a rule. Right.
Right.
But the beautiful thing about it, and we shouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, that's so horrible. The beautiful thing about it is that he has empowered us with so many different things, so many different people with certain gifts and talents and knowledge and experience in various different fields for us to interact with. Right? In order to help us with the things that we deal with within our flesh. The word flesh isn't necessarily a bad word. Right. What we do with the flesh is the problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Our physical bodies, my skin, my flesh, my muscles, my blood system, my brain, it's not a bad word. It's not a bad thing. It's not a sin. It's tissue, right? And this is how God has chosen to encase us. And so what I'm saying is that when someone experiences trauma, what people don't understand is that having an experience from outside of your body impacts inside of your body. Your entire
Say that again. Say that again.
Something that happens to you outside of your body, you experience it inside of your body. It impacts your entire system, every single system. Your brain controls everything. So if you have something wrong that's going on in your brain, it's going to impact your entire body, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I believe in approaching trauma in a holistic way, right? Coaching is not enough. Therapy is not enough. Sometimes you need to go to the doctor and find out you need to take a blood test and find out what's going on inside of you,
Yes.
right? Sometimes when you're hurt, you need to go for an x-ray. You need to find out what's happening inside of you, because whatever happening inside of you is going to manifest itself on the outside.
Yes. So true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when people struggle with certain things, like even autoimmune diseases, right? We think that's just a physiological thing. So many studies have shown that autoimmune diseases are attached to trauma.
Yeah.
And some people are completely unaware of that. Many people who struggle with weight, it's attached to trauma.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Many people don't see that connection, but it is. Addiction. Not everyone is an addict, right? Not every person, trauma survivor, is an addict, but every addict has had trauma, right? There's something that they've experienced that they're running from. There's something that they're trying to numb.
Yeah.
And it's painful enough for them to take on a certain addiction that is destroying their lives that they can now not let go of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right?
good. That's good.
And that's what I would like people to understand. We can't separate our bodies from God, from what God is doing in our lives. This is how He has chosen to do things.
Yeah. Yeah. And my sister friend, Sister Hattie, was just saying also that she's learning that now about the connection with autoimmune disease, because she was recently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease herself. So she is living what you are just talking about. Yeah, that's so true. And my cousin Elaine was saying, yes, it will impact your body to the cellular level.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Down to your cells, atoms, everything. Yes, it will be impacted.
And it's popular. It's popular now. We're talking about intergenerational trauma.
Yes.
Right? How it alters now even like your DNA.
Yes.
I mean, if that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Right. If something your mama and your daddy experience, is it impacting you? Even though you haven't experienced it?
Yeah. Yeah. It does. And even, and that's why even when a woman is pregnant, what a child experiences in utero can live with them outside the womb for years.
Yes.
That's why even in utero, it is so important for a pregnant woman to be mindful of what she does to her body, her mind, and taking care of her whole being and what she is exposing that child to in utero.
Exactly. Yes. And even think something like domestic violence. You think that just because the child can't see it, the child isn't outside of the body to see it and experience it. The child does. Even if it's not physical, it's a physical form of domestic violence. Even if it's emotional and verbal, the child still hears it. It experiences it through the mother. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Parents can regulate. Parents were created in such a way to regulate their children. That's how we learn how to self-regulate. It's through our interaction with our parents. Those attachment bonds. That's how we learn it. Children don't learn how to self-regulate through reading a book.
Right. Right.
Children learn how to self-regulate when they get into the arms of their comforting arms of their parents or their caregiver, and lets them know that it's going to be okay, and soothes them. Right? And kisses them and touches them and hums them, or just is a presence, a safe presence to let them know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's how children learn how to self-regulate. And so many of us have not had that.
Yes. Yeah, that is so true. And, I was really blown away when, and when we were in school and we were learning about attachment and the different attachment styles and how you attach as an infant and a toddler and so forth carries out through your adulthood.
Right.
Throughout your entire life. I think that's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I think it's so amazing how God built us in such a way to have such an impact on each other. Right. And I think it also speaks volumes to the sense how sensitive and how fragile we are.
Yes.
And how knowing that we need to be fragile with each other. We need to be kind to each other. We need to be loving and respectful to each other. Something as simple as a look can impact the person in a negative way for the rest of their lives.
Yes, yes. That is so good. That is so good. I want to ask, because I know that starting anything is not without its challenges. So I'm wondering what challenges or obstacles you guys faced with taking those first steps, whether they were internal obstacles, self-imposed, or whether they were external obstacles. So Martine, how would you answer that? What obstacles did you face?
If I'm being honest, I wouldn't say I face any obstacles starting. It's really maintaining. So I started at the end of 2019, and then boom, 2020 hits, and it's the pandemic, right? I did really great from September to March, and even I don't want to say thankfully, but thankfully the pandemic started in March and went into the spring, so it was outside events. I was still able to, run out, go to events and run out inventory. So I'm going to say there's a little bit of both of the internal and external obstacles that I faced during 2020 to 2021. So the whole year of 2021, I didn't do any events. I had the baby. He just turned 1. It was a lot, right? Internally, I've always struggled with a little self-doubt. Very confident person, but always struggled with a little self-doubt, and always had the notion of the market is too saturated. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing this, but they're not me. I'm a completely different person, right? So I had to get over that. That was a one internal. And another one, on a really personal level, I suffered with postpartum depression with my first. She'll be 13 in October. And then having my last, and just being in the house still during the pandemic, working from home, having 3 kids, 2 of them remote, just a bit. Jesus, almost took me down. When I say Val, I say down, girl, down to the ground. Okay, there was a moment in time. I know Momo is gonna chat on it because she's gonna see it. I mean, she knows. There was a moment in time I would wake up to a bottle of wine on my nightstand. This is before the baby, before I got pregnant. Thankfully, I got pregnant with him because, Jesus. And I have my therapist. I go to therapy, and I have my mom and I have my aunt and I have family, but it was just, I don't know. It was just a moment internally where I just shut down. I didn't do anything. A lot of event planners were texting me like, hey, where are you? I need this sofa. I need this backdrop. I need this. I need that. And I just wasn't up to dealing with anyone, talking to anyone, putting myself out there. I just didn't want to do it. But I know the pandemic had a lot to do with that, along with, your hormones when you're pregnant and everything. I know what postpartum depression looks like. And so I was able to get myself together before it took a hold of me. So those were 2 internal. Now, externally, if I'm be real, Val, when it comes to owning a business as an African-American person, I'm gonna just say person, there are 2 things that I've always seemed to have an issue with. 1, your peers don't respect you enough. 2, you don't know your value. So the first one, if you are going to support my business, do not ask me for a discount. Do not ask me for a hookup. Do not have a problem with my contract. Do not have an issue with the pickup time that I am, because if you're walking into Gucci, Prada, whomever you want to deal with, you're not going to ask me for a discount. Why? Because you can't. You're going to pay their price. So if I am a Black small business and a woman at that, and I have 3 kids, do not ask me to take $20 off, because I'm going to say no. And then I will never rent to you again, because I'm not here to negotiate and go, my price is my price. And I had to say that to a person that DM'd me. She's like, oh, can you do anything better on this? I said, absolutely not. My price is my price. Unless I have a sale that's posted, this is the price. I don't understand why we have to try to negotiate with one another when we can go into another store and pay full price, or we can order from another business and pay full price, and we have no issue with it. Why, if someone of color is, let me make it a Black person. When I use the term someone of color, it's more than just us, and I want to keep it to us for a reason. When it's us, why do we always want to negotiate? Why do we always want to put down? Why do we always want to do that? And then another external thing is we're so quick to put a bad review about a Black business. But then on the flip side, a lot of young Black business owners have no idea what customer service is.
Say it again.
None whatsoever, which irritates me so bad. Everybody just wants to pop up and open a business, and you have no idea how to. If you are telling me you are a business and you don't have your business hours posted, I'm gonna hit you up whenever time, and I'm gonna expect a response earlier than 2 days. I mean, 2-3 days will go by and nobody will respond to you, but then you'll get mad that a bad review is posted. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I wish enough of us would take the time to really take 1 or 2 business classes, just customer service. Geez Louise, you know?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, respect that Black business. So respect your Black owned business by taking the time to research, by taking the time to really go through a business course, by taking the time to find other people in the same business and ask for advice. And then if you are, Jesus, this is about to turn into a real like business 101.
Go ahead.
Are a successful Black business, do not keep the knowledge to yourself. You cannot service everyone. And I'm talking specifically about events, but I'm going to make it general. When it comes to events, there is one January 1st, 2022. That is it. One. You can't rent your venue out to everybody for that date. You can't rent your sofa out to everybody for that date. You can't rip your backdrop out to everybody for that date. So when you are booked, move on to the next one and say, hey, I know House of 3, they have A, B, and C. Anything I learned, I share. I've never understood that concept, especially when it comes to us. I don't get it. Why do we want everything for ourselves? I have no idea. So it's a lot, but the external, learn about your business, learn about your craft, what am I trying to say, mommy? Perfect your craft. Thank you. Perfect your craft. Mm-hmm. Learn from others, teach others, and be willing to pay the price that a Black owner is charging you.
Yes.
I can't say that. I cannot stress that enough. So as I am, my very last post was April 23rd, 2021. That was my birthday last year. I am starting up this year. My next post will be April 23rd, 2022. And I'm back in business, and I'm not playing with nobody. Period. I ain't playing.
That's my great niece, y'all. That's my great niece. She come from good stock. And listen, she said she ain't playing, and she ain't
playing.
Charge what you charge. Know your worth. Charge what you charge.
I co-sign that 1,000%. I co-sign that, Joni. And you know, we call her Joni because her middle name is Joan, but you know, her first name is Martine. But we she grew up with us in the family calling her Joni. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that, and it does happen.
It's ridiculous.
It does happen a bit too frequently, and I think a lot of us who run businesses can attest to that. So
yes,
thank you for that. Thank you so much.
I'm back on Val. Charge what you charge, but have a reason to charge what you charge. Mm-hmm. Customer service is huge.
Customer service
in any business. I don't care if you small, big, or Amazon. It's huge. It matters. That makes the difference between one sale and the next.
Yeah. And I can tell you for myself, customer service to me means everything, because if I'm not getting good customer service, I will walk out of a place.
Yeah.
On the flip side, when I get great customer service, I ask who is in charge, who is the manager, because I want to compliment the individual who provided me with that great service. I want whoever their boss is to know. I mean, I've written corporate, I've asked to speak to managers and pointed out certain employees and say, listen, this person really went above and beyond, and you are blessed to have someone like him or her in your employ. So to me, customer service is everything. You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely. So everybody's agreeing with you too.
Yes.
Sister Hattie said, yes, it is. I know that's right.
That's right.
I know that's right. That is so good. So, Jackie, for you, what were some of the obstacles that you faced along the way, either internal or external?
Okay. First, I have to say I am so proud of my baby girl. I'm so proud of my baby. My obstacles. Well, since I stopped working, when I had to resign in August of 2019,
Mhm.
some of my obstacles were external because of finances. I could not maneuver the way that I usually do. However, to be honest, my biggest obstacles were internal. Um, that self doubt, that I'm not good enough. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to listen. There are
Mm.
so many people on YouTube doing the same thing. Why are people going to want to listen to me? There are so many people who post prayers all the time. Why is anybody going to want to listen to me? Coaches are everywhere. Why is anybody going to want to listen to me? So that's
Mm.
been my business. My biggest obstacle is myself. It's my enemy. My enemy is my enemy.
Mm.
The battle of the mind is real.
Yes.
It's real, and it is something that I still struggle with. But I'm learning to recite to myself every day. There's a book that I was introduced to, "You Are Beloved" by Bobby Schuller, and the creed is, you are not what you do, you're not what you have, and you're not what people say about you. You are my beloved. And so
Wow.
because I am God's beloved, the assignment that he has given to me, the people who I have to reach, it doesn't matter how many coaches, it doesn't matter how many people are on YouTube, it doesn't matter how many people pray. The people that God has assigned to Jackie has to do what Jackie has to do in order to reach those people, because if I don't do it, they won't be reached.
Yes.
So my biggest obstacle is myself, but I am working on that every single day.
Yes.
Every,
Yes. That's good.
and my sister, of course, my children are, when I tell you they are a support system, they don't know how much they support their mom. Just like when they'll call and say, "Well, mommy, I need you to pray for this person," or "Mommy, I need you to pray for that person." What that says to me is they trust me. They trust me not just to pray for them, but to pray for people who are important in their lives. And that
Yes.
that keeps me going. So yeah.
Yes. They trust you and they trust the God in you.
Amen. Absolutely,
Yeah.
sis. That's right.
Yes, yeah,
That's
that
right.
that is so good. That is
Yeah.
so good. And I can identify with some of those internal obstacles where you question, because I asked myself the same thing, who's going to
Mm-hmm.
want to listen, who can I reach? There's so much of this and stuff out there. But listen,
Mm-hmm.
God had to tell me, Val, there is room at the table for everybody,
Mm.
because
That's it.
there's certain individuals who are going to he's going to send my way. There's
Mm-hmm.
some who are going to be drawn to me because of me and my personality,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some who will be drawn to Sarah Beth because of Sarah Beth and her
Mm-hmm.
personality and her
Mm-hmm.
presentation and her approach. I mean, listen, Sly and the Family Stone said it best: different strokes for
But
different
different
folks,
folks.
and so on and so on, and Scooby Dooby Dooby. Okay.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
right.
there's plenty enough to go around, because there are millions and millions of people in the world, and there are people who are hurting. There are people who are hungry, who are just waiting for us. There are people who want to plan a party for their 2-year-old, and they need Martine. They need
Mm-hmm.
Jackie to pray. They need Sarah Beth to be there to help them with their trauma
Mm-hmm.
symptoms. So there are people out there who are waiting for all of us. So
Yes.
so good, so good.
Yes.
So Sarah
Yes. Yes.
Beth, what were some of the obstacles that you may have faced along the way?
I want to say the main obstacle was transitioning from, say, like doing things in terms of like ministry and then turning it to a business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That I want to say that was my biggest struggle, trying to figure out rates. You know, what do I charge people? Do I have to market myself? Do I need, how much into social media do I need to be into? Like, you know, how do I rely more on word of mouth, people I know? That turning it into an actual business that works, that keeps the lights on. That was my biggest obstacle because I felt like I went from doing things out of just the goodness of my heart, just out of my love for the Lord, my love for people, to now have to include, how do I keep the lights on? Right? Like, this is legitimate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was one of my greatest challenges. And, you know, with what your great niece says, it's so true. Like, I had to stop feeling like I need to justify my rates or justify my services. And like, the Lord is telling me, like, you have a wealth of experience and of knowledge and training that you paid for you know, to get to where you are, you know, and like, you're worth every red cent, if not more, you know. And then it's like, you know, you struggle with that comparison thing. It's like, well, look at all these other coaches and all these other therapists, look how much they charge. But it's more so because they're really popular, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they don't get what they're charging, not because they have, you know, so much knowledge and so much experience, but it's more because they have a lot of followers, right? And it looks like they really know what they're doing. And not to say that they don't. I'm not taking anything from anyone, right? But for someone who's starting out, right, that could be difficult to sort of navigate, right? That comparison game. Because then you can kind of feel like, well, maybe I'm not doing this well, right? And then I look at your shirt, purpose versus popularity, and I'm like, amen. And I'm like, as long as I keep the course, because this is my purpose, right? Then I should be okay, no matter how many followers I have, because my people will find me.
Yes.
The people that God has chosen for me to serve will find me.
Yes.
And you know, and it takes faith to stand on it. And I guess that's what I'm doing.
That's great. That's great. And you know, we're not all either meant to have or going to have 1 million or 2 million followers. That's just that's just not going to happen for every single person that's out there. And there, like you said, there are some who are very popular and who charge a certain fee. I know that's something I struggled really hard with. And I got to tell you, I was told over and over again, Val, you're not charging enough. You're lowballing yourself. And I kept saying, well, you know, I'm just getting started. Because I just, after a year, increased my rates. And people are telling me that, Val, it's not enough. And I'm still struggling with that. I have to be completely honest. I am still struggling with that. So I may get to the point, I will get to the point where I can have a fee that's fully reflective of what I am worth, like you, Sarah Beth, with the training, the knowledge and experience, because I have a whole wealth of it. So yeah, that is something I struggle with as well in the beginning, and even now, a year later.
Right.
It took me a whole year, and this is one of the things I did. I justified it once I got my LAC. I said, okay, so now I got my LAC, so now I can raise my rates a little bit, okay? So then I asked myself, so Val, so now what are you going to do? Wait till you get your LPC to raise it again? And so, yeah, that is, that's good. And thank you all so much. So this is why I want to ask you, if there is a woman, anyone in particular, but specifically a woman who is thinking about or struggling with having a thought of starting a business or a ministry, what advice or encouragement or words of wisdom would you offer her? And I'm going to start with Marty Ma. I'm gonna go from the youngest. I hate to say to the oldest, but Jackie, you're the oldest, so you're gonna be last, okay? I'm gonna start.
That's okay.
I'm gonna start with Martine. Go ahead, baby.
Honestly, just go for it. Because if things don't change, things don't change. And you can have the same thought over and over again. and the one whole year that you've been thinking about it, that one whole year has passed, and you could have done something. And I think a lot of people get so caught up on the technical part, like the business plan, the funding, yes, it matters, but just go for it. I use my 1 out of 3 credit cards, and I said, honestly, this is honest. Momo, I was on the phone with Momo, and I was like, I was picking between the couch just the other day, a sofa as a for inventory, and I'm like, Momo, do you like this white or this light white? It's like bright white or ivory, and one was more expensive than the other. And of course, Momo went with the more expensive one. Go figure. And I'm like, shucks. Put it in my cart. I see checkout. I have my credit card in there. And I literally was like, God, I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. Add it to cart. I've literally spent $3,000 in this 1 week of full inventory because I know I'm going to make my money back. Just go for it. Trust your instincts. Just have a plan, right? But it doesn't have to be typed up and somebody just go for it. Just do it and see what happens. You will fail time and time again. That is just life. But without failure, you're never going to get to success. So are there things that I'm going to do differently in 2022 than I did in 2019? Absolutely. And always at the top of anything, know your worth. Val, I can't wait for you to charge people more than what you're charging. I don't even know what you're charging, but I know because I know you.
Right.
Know your worth. Everything. People think, oh, it's just me picking up a couch from my house and going to drop it off. Absolutely not. I have to go venue to venue to see what's in style. I have to shop at this store, that store. Argue back and forth with customer service. Think about your event. Think about your colors. Think about how long what you need, what other vendors have. Reach out to 10. That's time. That's money.
Yeah.
No. Know your worth. Stand on who you are and what service you're giving. Be proud of the service that you're giving. And don't buckle. Just don't buckle. You know what you're worth. Go out there and just do it. Just try it. Because there's so many things I wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, no. My mommy will tell you, I am literally like, I have a mind of 10 people. I want to try 10, 15 different things. And I always stop.
Oh, who was that? Okay.
Chloe. Get to the side, girl. I'll try 10. This is the middle one. I'll try 10, 15 different things and I'll give up on something. Just don't give up. Go for it and don't give up. If you have that 1, 2, 3 people that are your true support system, I literally have Momo up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning sending her pictures and stuff. I was in the backyard yesterday. I surely bought my power drill, my power tools. I told mommy and everybody for my birthday, don't give me a bag, a watch, or nothing. Give me a Home Depot gift card so I can go buy me some wood, my jigsaw, and cut the things that I need to do. Learn your craft. Just go for it. Really step out on faith and know that God is not going to let you down. And even if that one plan doesn't work, he probably made you go through that to figure out what you really need to do. So let's just do it. Let's do it.
Listen, Jackie, I know that's your daughter, but that's my great niece. I gotta take credit for that. That's my great niece, y'all. That is my great niece. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love y'all too.
Right, so, Sarah Beth, what advice or encouragement or words of wisdom would you give to someone who is contemplating launching out into business and they're having those moments of trepidation?
I'm going to echo what Martine said, for sure. I'm going to echo that. And I'm going to add to that. You have to create or find a support system. People who are going to support that dream and who are going to feed it, right? Because just like Martine said earlier, right? The people, your peers, like you'll probably get no respect, right? Those, your family and your friends, what is it saying that a prophet isn't respected in his own town or something like that? It's kind of like the same thing when you're starting a business. Your family, your friends, they know you as this particular person who's done this particular thing. They don't know you as this particular business person, right? Who's doing launching this new endeavor. So they may not understand it. They may not support you. They may not encourage you. They may try to discourage you. They may be jealous. They may be envious. And so what I'm saying is that as soon as you have this seed, right, this idea, surround yourself around people who are going to water it, who are going to nurture that, and going to help it to grow. Because you are going to have doubts. It is scary. You know, it is scary starting something new. It is scary starting in an industry that is already saturated, right? It is scary to do something that you don't have support with from the gate.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to surround yourself around people who are going to support you, who are going to be honest with you, but kind at the same time, you know, who respect you and respect your business and your idea. And I think through that, you'll continue to grow, and when you surround yourself around people who believe in you, you'll start to believe in yourself more and more.
Yeah.
And those naysayers really won't bother you as much.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have a good support system.
That's great. My nephew Rock, he said, Aunt Val, he said, I charge $150 an hour because of my demand, and I don't have all of your credentials. He said, marketing is key. All right, my nephew Rock, you got to help your auntie out with some marketing ideas, okay?
And your auntie's friend.
And your other auntie.
And your other auntie, right? Oh, and my sister Kayla. Hey, Kayla. She said, oh, trepidation. Come on here, vocabulary. All right. All right, Sister Kayla. So, Jackie.
Yes, ma'am.
What words of wisdom or encouragement or advice would you give to someone who was about to launch out on their business or their ministry?
Well, I agree with everything that Martine and Sarah Beth said. And there's not much to add to what they said because we just have to do it. But as they were talking, I thought about the movie, Lord, it just went out of my mind. Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, where they sang, what is the movie? Where they, what's her name? Lauren
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Sister Act.
Sister Act. Thank you. Sister Act. Remember the scene in the first one where Whoopi was standing outside by the mailbox with Lauryn Hill, and she was giving her the book to read, and she said to her, if you think about that thing every morning you wake up, and if you think about that thing every night when you get ready to go to bed, then that is the thing that you were supposed to do. Yes. And so for those ministries, for those businesses, if that is what you think about every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed, like Martine and Sarah Beth said, just do it. We hold ourselves back. God says build it and he'll bring the people to it. If your passion is so deep, thank you, Sister Shasha. If your desire and your dreams, if they are so prevalent and they're at the forefront of your mind on a regular basis, just do it. And that's what we do. We step out on faith. It's not going to be perfect. We're going to make some mistakes, but practice makes perfect.
Yes, that is so good. And you know what? There's something that I kept hearing over and over because I kept saying, oh, I want to do this over. I want to do this over. I want to do this over because it's got to be perfect. No, what I kept hearing is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just got to be done. Just get it done and let that idea of perfection go out of your head because first of all, there's no such thing as perfection.
Right.
It's a myth. It's an illusion. There is no perfection outside of Christ. You know, we ain't him, so we ain't never going to be perfect. And the things which our imperfect hands touch will never be perfect as well. Right. So that idea to just get it out of our heads and to just do it. And someone just put it in the chat. Sister Kayla, said to just do it. And that can seem like a very daunting task before you take that first step. But once you take that first step, it's so much easier to take the second and the third and the fourth and on and on and on and on. Because otherwise, we will hold ourselves back. I held myself back for a very, very long time with my own self-doubt and my own worry about so many things that, as it turned out, I didn't need to worry about. I didn't even really need to worry about it. There are times now when I drive myself insane even before I do a video or something. I'm sweating and I'm perspiring. I'm saying, Bellamy, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. Just go ahead and get it done. But I sometimes still have to talk myself into it each and every week before I do it. And yes, Sister Kayla, you are right. Sometimes we are our own harshest critic.
Yeah.
So, ladies, this has been, I cannot believe it's been an hour and 25 minutes. I can't believe it seemed like it went by like that.
Yeah.
This has been a fabulous. Come on, Coco, bring her on camera. Come on, Coco.
Baby.
Aww.
Hi.
Hi, baby.
Hi,
That's my great.
Hi.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, baby.
Hi,
I love you.
Hey, baby. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you guys
She's so cute.
much.
Thank you.
So much, for being here, for sharing. So I want to, for those of you who are still on, hold on, let me go back up. I think that's Jackie's YouTube. I think that's your link. Yeah.
I think that's it. Or just put in Jackie's Inspirational Corner. It'll come up.
Put in Jackie's Inspirational Corner. For Martine, her business is House of 3 Events. House of 3 Events, and she is on Instagram. And you service the 5 boroughs and Long Island, right?
Yes. The website will be back up this month. Took a good old year off, but we are back in business. Really quick about what you were talking, I just wanted to say my Bible app had popped up the other day, and it was a verse that you just said, Mommy, Matthew 6:34. When you were saying you worried about so much, let me look it up.
Oh yeah, okay. Don't worry about tomorrow.
But tomorrow has enough to worry, right? Something like that.
That's good.
That's so true.
Look at my screen.
I'm worrying about, right?
Scripture to her auntie. You go.
Yes. When you said that, I remember it popped up, and we're our own enemy, and we can stop us from doing so much that we want to do by just our negative thoughts. There's so much tomorrow that's going to happen that we can't change today anyway. So let tomorrow have its time and just worry about right now.
Thank you, baby. Your auntie needed that. I definitely needed that. And Sarah Beth, her business is Her Self-Awareness Coach. Her Self-Awareness Coach. And Sarah Beth, I think, did I have your website?
My website? The website is www.herselfawarenesscoach.com.
Herselfawarenesscoach.com. Herselfawarenesscoach.com. And Sarah Beth is also on Instagram as Her Self-Awareness Coach. So
Her Self-Awareness.
Her Self-Awareness, right? Her Self-Awareness on Instagram.
Yeah.
Jackie, Lifeline Prayer Ministry. That's the website, lifelineprayerministry.org. Lifeline Prayer Ministry is also on Instagram. And the email address, she had put it in the chat earlier, but it's Lifeline Prayer Ministry 24 or 42?
42.
Lifeline Prayer Ministry 42 at gmail.com. Lifeline Prayer Ministry 42 at gmail.com. That's this.
Right. I'm sorry, since there's also a Facebook page for Lifeline Prayer Ministry. A Journey on the Inside Life Coaching will be launched soon. Anybody that can help with a web page, please call me. Let me tell y'all. You talk about just doing it. Technically savvy is not my thing. It has been a struggle. It has been a struggle. But that will be launched soon. In the meantime, though, I can still take clients even if the website isn't up yet.
Yes,
because I do have my LLC. So,
and if you need prayer, or you know someone who does need prayer, they can reach out to lifelineministry.org or send the email to lifelineprayerministry42@gmail.com. And Jackie will send you a recorded prayer. And she can also be found on YouTube, Jackie's Inspirational Corner on YouTube. Jackie's Inspirational Corner on YouTube. So I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I want to thank all of you for watching. Again, this is brought to you by Marriage Beyond the Breach. And I think most of you are familiar with marriagebeyondthebreach.com. Marriage Beyond the Breach is on Instagram. Marriage Beyond the Breach is on Facebook as well. So at Marriage Beyond the Breach, we see individual clients, but our specialty is in relationships, specifically marriage. And a focus of mine is affair recovery. Those of you who have experienced infidelity in your relationship and you are struggling with how to get beyond it. And I say get beyond and not get over, because it's not something you get over, but you can get past it. Reach out to Marriage Beyond the Breach. And Jackie, Rock's wife, Toya, said she'll give you a call. She is a web designer. Her company is Web Poets Design. Web Poets Design. Did I get it right, Toya? Just let me know if I got that right. It's Web Poets Design. And I know she's on Instagram and she's on Facebook. And let me tell you something else, because listen, I love to promote everybody, everything. My niece Toya is a fantabulous cook. Okay, so she also has a food catering business called Yumdacity. It's called Yumdacity, Yumdacity. I think that's how it's pronounced. Toya, write it in if you're still on here, Toya. Yumdacity. If you're in New York City, yeah, she just put it in, Web Poets Design, and put your Yumdacity thing up there also, Toya. Listen, I live in Pennsylvania, and I had friends who live in New York who were coming for a visit. I ordered some food, and I had them bring me some of her food from New York to PA, and it was worth it. So, Yumdacity is her food catering business, and you can also order meals for throughout the week. You know, it doesn't have to be an event. And you can order individual meals or for catering. And if you need web design, it is Web Poet Designs, plural with an S.com. And there's a Instagram.com/Yumdacity. Okay. So again, thank you all so much. I love you guys. I don't know if it'll be here next week or not, but just be on the lookout, because there'll be an announcement for whenever we're going to be coming back. Maybe next time I'll be blessed with the presence of the Cookie Man, but I thank you all. I love you, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Oh, I always forget to say this. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe and click on the notification bell. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to Marriage Beyond the Breach. Subscribe to Jackie's Inspirational Corner, and subscribe to her
self-awareness.
Her self-awareness. I'm sorry. I'm trying to just get everybody out there as much as I can. So go to YouTube and subscribe to everything. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.